This week's muscle of the week is the rectus abdominis, the six-pack, the abs, one of the most coveted muscles that we all strive to work a lot. We've got books and classes and a whole host of gadgets focused just on this muscle, and yet it's also one of the most underutilized and underworked muscles in the entire human body. The rectus abdominis is actually a relatively long muscle that covers a lot of the length on the interior chain. Its origin is way down low into the pubis and extends all the way up into the costal cartilage of ribs 5 through 7, as well as the xanthroid process here on the sternum. And these attachment points mean that the job of the rectus abdominis is to basically cover a lot of the flexion, some of the rotation, and intra-abdominal support of the bulk of your front side from your ribs all the way down to the bottom of your pelvis. And there are many reasons why we often have so much difficulty working the abs. Largely because we're not really using the abs for the job they're intended to do. We've got leg raises, we've got sit-ups, we've got all sorts of BOSU and twisting and core exercises and control. And most of this stuff kind of is a detour around the real job the abs have, which is primarily we have lumbar flexion, pelvic tilting in a posterior way, maintaining that position, and stability. One of the biggest mistakes you can make with lying leg raises and sit-ups is the coveted putting the hands under the hips activity. And it's not like it's unhealthy or a bad thing to do, but when you consider that the abs are attached to the pubis and their entire job is to pull the pelvis upwards when we're doing our exercises, if I put my hands here, well, now my hands are just doing the job of the abs. It's kind of like if I'm doing bicep curls and I'm like, oh, that's hard. Oh, there we go. Now I've got it. I'm literally using other parts of my body to get the exercise done than the very muscles you're trying to work. Of course, as always, that's assuming that you have a good amount of tension control in the abs to begin with. And unfortunately, this is one area of the body that many people don't, largely, again, due to our sedentary lifestyles. You could do this in the gym on a barbell rack or pushing down on like a TRX or gymnastics ring. But all you're going to do is you're going to place your hands on something about waist height, curl your back. So again, you're pulling that pelvis up. It helps to keep your glutes engaged. And you're going to just press down with your abs as hard as you can. You should feel it right in that rectus abdominis. You can use your back, but it shouldn't be necessarily a back exercise, but instead all about engaging the abs to a very high degree for several seconds, and you're just practicing turning them on. Dead bugs are another classic exercise for abdominal activation. Picking your legs up, aka picking your pelvis up as much as you can, forearms against the thighs, and driving into the abdominals as hard as you can, and then releasing, and then trying again. Again, you want to feel the abs working to a very high degree, because tension is something you can feel, so the more you feel it, the more tension you have. So the real, quote, best ab exercise out there isn't some sort of a special thing you do on a BOSU ball or with cable machines and such. It's instead to use the abs to create or maintain a pelvic tilt or subtle pelvic tilt in every ab exercise you're doing, and almost every type of ground-based exercise you're doing. Kettlebell swings, deadlifts, and even simply walking around can be a very effective way to, quote, work the abs and make sure that they're engaged as much as possible with any sort of activity that requires that intra-abdominal stabilization. And lastly, remember that your abs are like any other muscle. You don't need lots and hundreds of repetitions or entire classes dedicated towards working your abs. You just need one or two good, intense exercises that you can do to really hit the abs to a high degree of intensity, and that will be more than sufficient. Speaking of which, I've got a couple of my favorite micro workouts to hit the abs right over here. Don't forget to check out my book, Micro Workouts, down below in the description. Like the video, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you have questions, leave them down below in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching. Be fit and live free.